Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy Halloween. Today I'm going to share with you my favorite makeup products from the month of October. I've got a good stash here. I even have a couple of candles, which is normally outside of the box for me. I don't normally talk about non-makeup related things, but I had to share these with you guys. So it should be a fun one. Before we get into that though, if you are a new visitor here, I want to give you a special welcome. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Also make sure that your notification bell is turned on. And with that said, let's get right to it. Okay, so let's start with the makeup products. First off, I have two foundations I wanted to share with you guys. The Easy Blur foundation from Huda Beauty. I know I just posted the video where I did a kind of a first impression on this foundation a couple of days ago. I had it a few days before posting that video and it took me about a week to get that video up. So I've had this and been using it for about 2 weeks now and I'm pretty impressed with it. I really do think that it does a good job at helping to soften especially the pore area. I don't really notice this softening with like my lines or other texture on my face, but around my nose, if you suffer with larger pores, which I progressively am suffering from more and more with each passing year, I do think it helps to kind of soften those pores. It doesn't take them away. It's a very subtle difference, but I do notice that it does help with that area. It just seems to sit well on top of my skin right there and it stays that way throughout the day, which I've been pretty impressed with. And I also wanted to mention, I also have the primer. I've been trying to use this on its own. I've used it together with the primer. I actually don't notice a big difference with the primer. I think it is the foundation that seems to be giving me that softening result. And I've been trying to use this primer with other foundations that I own to see if they give me a similar pore blurring effect. I haven't noticed anything major yet. I think that's one of those things that's going to take me some time. So I'm not counting out the primer, but the foundation is the thing that I'm the most impressed with. So if I notice a change in that as I continue to play with this and other foundations, I'll let you guys know. But so far, the foundation is the standout for me. I still think it's pretty pricey. I mean, I'm very picky with my high-end foundations. The difference is minimal. It's not going to change your life, but if you like a high-end foundation and you struggle with larger pores, you may want to look into this one because I've been pretty happy with it. Okay, I also wanted to officially mention the LYS foundation. I also talked about this in a recent video. I don't know that I had officially mentioned it in a favorites video before, but I did pick it in my Shop My Stash that I did a couple of weeks ago. So I've been using it a lot, and the more I use this, the more impressed I am with it. Now this is a dewy foundation. It's very luminous and hydrating, has much more of a dewy finish than a skin-like finish. I love the pump on this thing. I'm very picky with my pumps. It has not had any issues at all for me. It's very controllable, which I love. So if you need like a pump in a bit, you can do that. Some foundations you can't do that with. You have to do like a solid pump or 2 pumps. There's no in between. The only bad thing about the packaging is the lid doesn't stay on very tightly. So this lid kind of would fall off if I was traveling with this. I imagine the lid would come off, which could be a problem. So maybe not for travel, but I really overall love this foundation. And it's also one of the more affordable foundations for a high-end Sephora brand. By the way, the shade that I use is MN3 and the shade in the Easy Blur is Custard, in case you were wondering. Okay, I've got 2 bronzers to share with you guys. Neither of these are brand new, but these are really the only 2 bronzers that I've been using all month. One of them is a powder, one of them is a cream. First off, the NYX Buttermelt bronzer. I think I mentioned this last month. I'm still obsessed with this bronzer. I have shade number 2. I also own shade number 3. I can use them both, but this is like my perfect shade. It's a very rosy bronzer, almost more of a blush shade. It's kind of like a crossover, which is one of the things I love so much about it. You could totally just put this on your cheeks, maybe add a little bit of highlighter and be done. Totally forego the blush, but of course I love bronzer and blush, so of course I rarely do that, but you totally could use this as like a one and done product if you were in a hurry. Great formula. It's a powder, but it almost goes on like a cream because it's just so smoothing. I almost feel like it has a bit of sheen in it, but it's not like a glittery sheen. It's just a beautiful, beautiful formula. I really have been loving this. Also, the NARS Laguna bronzing cream. I have the Laguna 02 original shade. This stuff is so good. Now, I have to be very light-handed with this because it's almost a little dark for me, or it just goes on a little heavy, so you kind of have to be careful with it. My favorite way to use this is to take a dense brush. I will either use this one, which I think is an old Moda brush, which I love, or this one from Sydney Grace. Anything kind of dense works really well, like almost like a foundation type brush. I'll just take it and tap it in just once or twice. It's very soft, and then I will take the lid and work the product into the brush on the lid. I used to do this on the back of my hand, but I like doing it in the lid because I feel like I don't waste as much product. And then I'll start tapping it onto my cheeks. It blends out so quickly, helps me not to apply too much. I love the shade of this. It does a really good job of warming and shaping the face at the same time. And for a cream bronzer, I feel like it lasts really well. It's not quite as buttery and emollient as something along the lines of like the Persona or the Fenty Beauty, the Patrick Cha one in the Duo. Those ones are super, super almost greasy. I know that's a really off-putting word to say, but they feel like butter. I mean, they feel so creamy that they might move around if you have really greasy skin or if you have issues with that. This one's a little more satin-like. It's not quite as rich. I think it helps it to last a little longer and set down a little bit more. And I've mentioned it before, the value of this thing, you get 0.67 ounces of product. So this thing, that's like 3 times more than I think the Fenty Beauty one gives you. That's a ton of product. It will last you forever. Okay, I want to share with you guys this lip combo that I have rediscovered. These are all old products that I just put them on in a video, and I have been obsessed with this lip combo lately. It includes a lipstick, which you guys know I've kind of been neglecting, and maybe I'm getting back on board the lipstick train. But let's talk about the lip liner first. This is the LA Girl Ultimate Intense Wear Auto Liner in Nonstop Nude. This has been a favorite of mine for years. I want to say like 5 years now. I've been obsessed with this lip liner. I think this is my 3rd one. And I think the packaging of this may have even changed. I love this lip liner. It's such a great shade. It's retractable, so you don't have to bother sharpening it. It's very long wearing, especially for a drugstore lip liner. It's just perfect. I absolutely love this lip liner. And then on top of that, by the way, I am wearing this combo on my lips today, is the Flower Beauty lipstick in Naked Blush. I think this shade has either been discontinued or you just can't buy it on Ulta. I will check the Flower Beauty website. If I can find it on there, I'll link that down below. But I did notice they had this on Amazon. If I can find it anywhere, I will link it for you guys. This is such a great nude pink shade that's still kind of warm. It's not too cool toned. It's just a really good shade for your lips. I also love the Flower Beauty formula because it's very thick, but in the best way. I almost feel like it adds like a layer to your lips that kind of plumps them a little bit. And then you put a gloss on top, and I just feel like it really helps out your lips, especially if you have a lot of lines on your lips. It's a gorgeous formula. It says it's a matte formula, but I don't think it's matte in the way that some matte lipsticks I've tried before have been. I'd say it's more satiny. Like it has quite a bit of slip to it. It's just not that glossy kind of cream finish that some of their other lipsticks have. I love the Flower Beauty lipstick formula. Even though they've been neglected for the last few years, it's still one of my favorites. And then on top of that, I've been putting the CoverGirl Yummy Gloss in Coconuts About You. This is such a great lip gloss. It's one of the only things that I like from the brand CoverGirl. I think I have 2 or 3 of these. This is by far my favorite. Doesn't really give any color at all, maybe a tiny, tiny bit of pink, but it just has such a comfortable shine to it that's lovely. And the smell, not as like tasty like the lifter glosses are, but has a very pleasant scent to it that's not overpowering. Just a few eyeshadow palettes. The one that I'm wearing on my eyes today, and it's so gorgeous, is the Mist Haven palette from Alter Ego. They sent this to me. I'll be honest, guys, I never would have bought this palette or the dupe, which is the Pretty Grunge palette from Huda Beauty, just because the color story looks like it's outside of what I enjoy. I'm not really into purples. It's probably one of my least favorite colors to put on my eyes next to blues generally. But these are purples that are more kind of like, they're almost gray, but I also don't like gray eyeshadow. So it sounds like I'm talking myself out of enjoying this palette, but I love it. It's so pretty. As someone that is not normally way into cool tones, I've been very surprised at how much I've been enjoying this and reaching for it. Now there is a lot in here, maybe not a lot. There's probably like 3 shades in here that I probably won't use, namely this kind of creamy black shade, which is not budge proof. I mean, it's just a little too like greasy for my liking, and also like these shades, although I am wearing this one on just the outer part of my lid today and I absolutely love it. I don't usually put shimmers in the outer part of my eyelid, so I'm still experimenting with those shades, but these ones are so pretty. You get a couple of more neutral shades here, but everything in this pulls a little bit softly purple, kind of a cooler purple, but it's this very interesting like area that it sits in that I just think is really unique and different for me. And it's kind of been opening my eyes up a little bit to maybe not just sticking with the warm neutrals all the time and venturing out once again. Let me know if you guys have the original Pretty Grunge palette. Do you love that one? I know she just came out with a new palette as well, the Icy Nude palette, which looks very pretty, but also as I was looking at swatches of that palette, it kind of gives me Stone Cold Fox from ColourPop vibes, or even like the Petals on Point palette from ColourPop. So I just don't know that I need that palette as pretty as it looks. Let me know if you want to push me in that direction. I'm kind of, I feel like I'm asking for someone to kind of push me to buy it, to maybe review it for you guys or do a dupe video. But a part of me is also like, that is a $70 palette. You do not need it. Stick with maybe something like this and maybe save your money for something else. Let's talk about a super affordable palette. Now, I probably would not be talking about this one if it wasn't $4, but I've been so happy with this and I've been using it a ton. This is the Relove by Revolution Coconut Dream Quad. This is such a good, little, simple, basic palette if you like something small, cheap, travel friendly. I've been very impressed with this one. One of the reasons I was so impressed with this little palette, so look at this color story. And then this is the I Need a Warm palette from Huda Beauty. Now obviously you get way more shades in here. Vibe-wise, $4 versus $69. This totally will give you a similar vibe. The mattes are a little bit messy. They're a little powdery, but they blend like a dream. They're nice and pigmented. I don't love this bronze shimmer, but this shell pink, I actually put it on with a brush, which not all shimmers apply well with a brush. This one is lovely. It creates like a 10-second eye look that looks so well put together and polished. If you like your neutrals, or maybe you're just starting in makeup and looking for something very basic to start with, this is pretty impressive. I've been very happy with it. One more makeup item and then I'll tell you guys about the candles. I had to talk about the Huda Beauty Legit Lashes mascara. This is such a good mascara. Now I don't think it's very water resistant. I actually haven't had a chance to test out how water resistant it is yet because I haven't had it for that long or been outside where my eyes water. Now I actually have it on my lashes today and we are going this afternoon to like a witches themed outdoor kind of scavenger hunt thing today with Charlie. And it is very cold today. So I definitely will have a chance to test how water resistant this is as I am outdoors in the sun, in the cold air. I'm sure my eyes are going to be pouring water. So I will let you guys know once I post this video down below if this held up to my watery eyes. I'm guessing that it won't because it does remove very easily with just some basic soap and water. But man, you guys, this stuff does amazing things for my lashes. I did talk in a recent video about the fact that I have a little like sort of bald spot in my lashes right here that is starting to grow out. A lot of my mascaras, in fact, all of my mascaras have had a hard time getting that little area, which you can't even really tell with this mascara, to kind of catch up with where my other lashes are. You can kind of tell that it's a little bit like stunted in one spot. This mascara actually will extend those lashes out to meet up with the rest of mine. It gives you two sides. The first side is the volume side and then you put the length side on top and it kind of extends your lashes out. It is a tiny bit on the clumpy side, but it makes my lashes look incredible. Almost like I'm wearing like false corner lashes. Now my only other complaint with this, I mean it's Huda Beauty so it's a little bit more expensive, and also because it's double-sided, you're probably gonna get half the amount in each side. Even if you're getting the full size, I'm tempted to put the full size in my cart next time I do a Sephora order, which will probably be very soon here because their sale is coming up. We'll see how it holds up today, but even still, I just love how this looks on my lashes. It makes my lashes look incredible. Okay, so that's it for makeup. Let's talk about two candles. They're both kind of fall themed. I have become obsessed with Bath & Body Works candles. Now, back in the day when I first started my channel, I would notice once in a while like a beauty YouTuber would do like a candle haul or mention some candles in a favorites video, and I used to mock those people thinking who would spend $24 on a candle. Well, I never would. I still wouldn't because you can buy them at 50% off if you wait for the sales. But I am now ashamed to admit that I am one of those people that just buys so many candles, it's ridiculous. Anyways, I just had to laugh because there was a day that I would have been outraged. It's like the outrage some of you have that I've been suckered into buying Natasha Denona palettes when former Mandy would never have done that. I feel that same outrage at myself and my candle collection. Let's talk about two that I really love though. I know a lot of people love the Bath & Body Works candles. So I mentioned this one before. This is Leaves. This is my fall staple candle. It's such a perfect scent. It has this like Oh my gosh, it's kind of apple-y, but not in a way of like an apple pie that's coming out of the oven. It's like a real apple smell. More of a natural sort of scent. It's not as artificial as some fall scents can be, especially when it comes to like apples or pumpkin scents. I'm very picky with those scents. I think so often they can be too sickly or sweet. This one just smells so pleasant. I love it. It has almost a very subtle spice to it, but it's not an obvious like too much cinnamon or too much nutmeg. It's just the best. I think this is my 5th one over the years. I have to buy it every year because it goes out pretty quick. But I've also discovered this one that my whole family is obsessed with. And I am a very picky candle person when it comes to sweet scents in particular. This is definitely a sweet scent. Unfortunately, I think this one has already been booted off of the website. I think it's like a fall only scent, but I did just find a backup of this at my local Bath & Body Works. In the 60% off section, it is the Main Street Bakery scent. This smells like you are actually baking muffins in the oven. It has this very subtle tinge of banana to it, which I usually don't like the smell of bananas, but it's super subtle. It's more of like a buttery sweet scent. It's sweet, but it doesn't smell fake. I don't know. I can't explain it. It smells delicious. Like you will smell this in your house. If you are on a diet, this might be dangerous to you because it makes you want to bake a cake or bake some muffins. It is amazing. I burned through this one so fast because I love the scent of this in my house. It just smells so good. Great throw. By the way, both of these have fantastic throw. You will smell them all the way upstairs in a 2-story house. They will fill all the rooms of your house. They are really nice. But that's gonna do it, you guys. Those are all of my favorite products from the month of October. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Have a very happy Halloween. Have fun trick-or-treating with your kids if you are in that phase of life. I can't wait. Charlie's gonna be Bluey. I made her a homemade Bluey costume, which is probably why my Huda Beauty video took so long to get up. Blame Bluey. But that's all for now. Stay tuned. I do have my Sephora recommendation video coming up. I'm gonna do kind of a different spin on that, kind of really narrow things down. What I would recommend picking up during the Sephora sale. And I may or may not do a what I am interested in buying at the Sephora sale. I'm trying to save up money for Christmas. I really don't want to go crazy at the Sephora sale this year. So we will see. Let that be a reminder to you guys. Subscribe before you leave. Make sure your notifications are turned on. Hope you guys are doing well. Have a happy Halloween, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. By the way, you guys, I feel like I'm gonna have to cut my hair off because I'm getting so much breakage. I think it's because I've been wearing ponytails and buns so much lately, and sometimes I will wear them, like I'll fall asleep in my ponytail or my bun. I think my hair is just not having it, and it's like all of this hair has like broken off. Like no hair in this part of my, I might have to do like this. Curly hair does not work, short, by the way. It's not cute. I've tried it before. It was hideous. I could strap this to my face like a mask and just wear it.